I don't know whether or not I'll get copyrighted for showing the actual news, so I decided to show like just the video of it instead of like actually showing you the real audio and everything. This weather system, that deadly winter storm, they've never seen anything like this. That was Texas. That was Texas that you were looking at. I've fast forwarded. I'm just going really fast. Since I'm on my last strike, I do not want to risk that.
Winter warning that brought blizzard-like conditions.
Texas is under blizzard-like conditions. Frozen fountains.
Flurries fell in southeast Texas, blanketing Galveston's sandy beaches in white. The city manager there warning infrastructure damage caused by the extreme temperatures could rival the cost of a hurricane.
The infrastructure damages caused by this storm system will rival that of a hurricane, they said.
Frozen roads sent an 18-wheeler careening out of control.
Frozen roads and even tornadoes.
Snow-nado in East Texas.
They said a snow-nado took place in East Texas with frozen waters, with everything frozen in a solid sheet of ice and snow.
Will last for several days, meaning that what becomes frozen will remain frozen.
And this is going to remain frozen for weeks. For days.
The ice. Tennessee roads turned into ice rinks.
This is a Tennessee road before the snow started. As you well know, ice skating rinks of ice.
Arkansas, cars were brought to a standstill on a slippery highway, trapping nurses who just got off their shift. 5 days straight for the third time ever. And with another storm looming, crews worked to clear snow as fast as they could. Nearly 4 million.
These are the transformers.
Louisiana, the cold caused a transformer to blow, ripping a fireball through power.
This is the fireballs and the transformers. That was a Walmart parking lot, and as you can see, millions are without power.
The power outage also complicating the fight against the pandemic.
In Texas, millions of people without power.
From Kansas to Texas, power providers are urging people to conserve energy, but that's going to be tough because new winter warnings have just been issued that'll stretch all the way from Dallas all the way south to San Antonio. That could affect 15 million people.
A new winter storm expected for 15 million people. And this system here, they said they already have millions of people without electricity. And they said then they had to do rolling blackouts where they continued them for up to 15 hours in some cases. A mandated power outage. Not only the natural power outages, but the other power outages they were forcing. They said they were expecting to already have planned power outages today, but now they're already continuing them, and they're making them extended.
States from coast to coast with heavy snow, freezing.
Now, the heavy snow, freezing rain, the ice, and severe weather has sparked a declaration of emergency across multiple states.
Like in Oklahoma, to whiteout conditions in Arkansas.
This is Arkansas.
And down to Texas.
This is Texas.
An unparalleled winter storm targeting southern states unused to a powerful mix of snow.
They said that this system that's taking place is targeting southern states which aren't used to this type of weather. It's colder in Texas than it is in New York. The entire forecast of New York calls for 40s, 30s, and 50s. 30s, 40s, and 50s in New York. Versus Texas, wind chills of negative 30. Temperatures below zero. The high, 1 degree.
Ice and below freezing temperatures. Cars and trucks providing no match for roads and interstates blanketed with sheets of ice, sending vehicles careening out of control. In Texas, for the first time, all 254 counties in the state are under winter storm warnings.
This is Texas.
The Lone Star State hasn't seen temperatures like this.
That is not normal.
Roads, no matter how much we salt them.
They said it doesn't matter how much salt you put down, it won't do any good.
Dan Markingo, driving on these roads for work can be a life or death decision.
Everyone knows truck drivers are having a really difficult time on this.
All right, CBS News meteorologist and climate specialist Jeff Baradelli is in New York with the very latest. Oh man, compared to what we just and then looking ahead to tomorrow.
Yeah, so this is a historic storm. People that remember.
Trust me, I don't care for the news people anymore. I don't care for them at all. I really don't care for, the biased news media. But I decided to check out what's going on, and I saw all this.
For a long time because there's snow and ice all the way down to the Gulf Coast, Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi.
There's snow and ice down to the Gulf Coast in the Gulf of Mexico.
The biggest issue with this storm, beside the snow, is going to be a sheet of ice that's going to develop, from Louisiana through Mississippi up through the Tennessee Valley. And the reason for this.
That sheet of ice, as he just said, the sheet of ice is going from Mississippi, Louisiana, all the way into the Tennessee Valley. By the way, like I showed earlier, it's a sheet of ice under that snow. And then earlier, what's insane about this is how it seems to sleet and rain at 25 degrees. That, I don't understand. I've never seen sleet and rain at 25 degrees in my life. It should be pure snow. But it's a heavy, fine precipitation that falls. I wish I could have recorded it. I should have recorded it. But it's a fine precipitation that is so heavy it's like freezing rain and sleet at 25 degrees. That should not exist. You should not be seeing this shiny, fine, freezing rain and ice at 25 degrees. It should be pure snow. But it's this fine precipitation that is like, it's impossible to you just can't maneuver around and stuff like that. But at 25 degrees, it should be snow, not freezing rain and ice, not sleet. And all these states are dealing with this. I mean, it's just like an ice skating rink on the roads and on the surfaces.
Arctic air has a lot of muscle. It's very heavy.
They're saying the reason why this is happening is the Arctic air has a lot of muscle. It pulls down from the Arctic. It pulls down from the North Pole. Pulls down from, the Arctic areas, and pulls down over. Now it's pulling over the entire United States, causing a crippling ice and snowstorm. This ice and snow, you'll even see right here, Mexico and California are in the blue. It goes down into the Gulf of Mexico.
Bullying its way all the way down to the Gulf Coast and into the Gulf of Mexico, of all things. And there's snow and ice all the way down into the Gulf. So
there's snow and ice all the way down to the Gulf of Mexico.
The Gulf of Mexico at the same time is trying to push moisture and warm air north.
They said at the same time the Gulf of Mexico is trying to push warm, moist air north. But this system is so powerful, this cold ice and snow system is so powerful below it that the warm, moist air is pushing over it, causing this unusual rain, sleet to fall, and it freezes the moment it hits the ground. And they said it's so cold down here that the rain from the Gulf of Mexico, the moisture, is going over this system. So it's basically...
And it's doing so over the top of this very cold air at the surface. So you have
they said it's raining over the top of this. So that misty and heavy rain is raining over the top of this ice and snow. And that's why this snow, they say, this ice looks so weird when it's falling. That's why it's so crippling, they say. This warm Gulf air that's supposed to be there is being pushed out by this northern Arctic air. And they claim that it's covered the entire country of the United States except for Florida. And it's been pushed downward, and it's pushing the Gulf air away, and the Gulf air is above it. It's being pushed above it, and then it causes warm air to rise over that cold air, as it shows right here, and it rains on top of it, and then that heavy sleet and frozen precipitation of freezing rain starts falling.
That rain hits the ground, it freezes solid, it becomes a skating rink. So that's going to be a problem anywhere from the Deep South straight through the Ohio Valley.
And the Deep South, basically all of Texas, Tennessee Valley, all the way up through the Ohio Valley, that ice skating rink scenario continues.
And so as we head through the day today, tonight, and tomorrow, that storm's going to make it north through the Tennessee and Ohio Valley and northeast, and there's going to be a lot of heavy snow on the northwestern side of the system. So we have...
And the reason why I'm having to make this so quick is because what I'm dealing with is so many copyright strikes and issues that I'm having to... I don't know what I can share anymore and what I can't. They won't even let me share an opinion anymore either.
Here's the thing, we're also seeing like record-breaking cold temperatures, the kind of temperatures that you read and you think there's a typo, right? Weather.
I think the biggest danger is the ice, for sure. And one of the biggest problems is going to be widespread power outages in the south. And it's going to...
Widespread power outages obviously are a big problem. Earlier, our lights started flickering, and I thought, uh-oh, that's not good. Right now, it's... I don't know what the temperature is according to this clock. It's 68 right now in the living room. Thank goodness. I don't know. It's the other room's a little colder at the doorway, but the living room, I have these 3 small space heaters. One of them's not as small as the others, but they're facing toward me, blowing toward the couch. And there's a heater behind me. There's a heater in the restroom, and there's a heater in the kitchen. I turn the other heater on, and it shuts our electricity off, and I have to go to the circuit breaker / fuse box and flip the switches over and over, and then reset the lights and do all that stuff in the sockets. I'll have to do all that every time. And I've had to do that 4 times tonight, 3 or 4 times tonight already. And I've had to go to the garage and mess with the circuit breaker / fuse box. But this is pretty messy.
At least a couple to a few days. So people lose power, it's going to get really cold inside their house.
And they're having planned power outages on top of it.
Now in Oklahoma City, the coldest temperatures in over 100 years in places like that. Coldest temperatures in Texas in 30 years. temperatures in over 100 years in places like that. Coldest temperatures in Texas in 30 years. It's going to be about 50 degrees below normal today.
It should be 50 to 55 degrees in some of these areas, and instead, it's negative 51.
Oklahoma City. It should be 55. It's going to be 5 if they are lucky. And wind chills right now in the upper Midwest and northern plain states are negative 30 to negative 40 degrees. So there are plenty of hazards. You can pick your hazards because there's plenty of them across the country. The interesting thing is, like I said, in New York and Boston, it's an ice to rain event. But
it's just a rain event. They said the interesting thing about this is it's flip-flopped, and it's an ice and a rain event in New York, where it should be snowy and icy. It's just minor ice and rain in New York.
Or 2 behind, and it's almost a mirror image. I should say mirror image. It's almost the exact same storm. It's a carbon copy, if you will.
Oh, man. Oh, my goodness. You know, at least typically we get a little bit of a break, and maybe you might get some melting. Doesn't look like that's going to happen. I'm sure we'll be talking to you again, Jeff. Thank you very much.
So basically, it's one of these scenarios where it doesn't go away. It's not going anywhere. And this is St. Louis roads right now. They're not as bad as I'm sure as Texas is, but let's see. I think we had
Good evening, everyone. Happy President. Major headlines tonight, but
First time over the weekend, the whole state was under a winter warning that brought blizzard-like conditions.
they've never seen anything like this.
Into a tundra. Flurries fell in southeast Texas, blanketing Galveston's sandy beaches in white. The city manager there warning infrastructure damage caused by the extreme temperatures spun up this.
We begin tonight with the
So yeah,
Turnpike in Oklahoma.
I mean it's definitely. I have a feeling I know what's behind this. I have a feeling I know the reasoning behind this.
Marcus Moore joins us now.
But they'll probably take me down if I try to say it.
Well, this winter blast could.
They'll probably try to take me down, so I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to say it.
Chill warning for the first time
But I mean,
ever.
they said they've never had wind chill warnings in these areas. Ice storm warnings, winter storm warnings, and winter weather advisories. We're under a winter storm warning. I mean, there's never been, they said, such a large swath of a winter storm warning, and they've never had Texas feeling like negative 30. They've feeling like temperatures of negative 10, and they've never had temperatures in these areas negative 54 or negative 51 at all. That's never. They said they've never seen a system like this. And even though the warm air is trying to come from the Gulf, it's being pushed away and pushed over, and it causes it to react and causes that rain to be frozen, and it causes it to be worse. It makes an ice skating rink situation. So I've never. I mean, not only are we getting a winter blast, this whole planet's getting a winter blast. I mean, European countries are dealing with it. Russia is dealing with cold that they've never seen before, even for Russia. And areas of obviously Mexico dealing with something they've never seen before. Hawaii dealt with something they've never witnessed before. I think it was Guam witnessed temperatures that were record-breaking. Even though they weren't cold, they were still record-breaking, cool for them. And where was it? Where else was it? There are other countries, other places, basically worldwide dealing with different anomalies. And now they're going to shut power off on purpose because they say they have to shut it off for 12 to 15 hours instead of 30 to 45 minutes like they were going to do, because they said if they don't conserve the electricity, they said the grid will go down there, and they don't want that. So I don't know. It's a very chaotic situation. We haven't been having these brownouts and blackouts and surges since the 2 administrations ago. I'll just flat out say that. It hasn't happened since then. It stopped 2016 and started back January of this year. Honest to goodness, it started back. Just like these systems, polar vortexes, they weren't happening to the extent they are now for the last 4 or 5 years. 4.5 years or so. Alright, peace, signing out. Just wanted to give an update on this weather. Hopefully they don't give me an issue with the copyright because it was sped up and I talked over most of it. So, peace, signing out. They've already tried to give me copyright warnings over news videos I did in the past. So, how are you going to show content from the news if you can't share it? How do you share it if you can't show it? And I don't like these news networks. I don't agree with these news networks. I don't agree with their propaganda and negativity that they spread. But I wanted to share it. It's the only place I could find this particular compilation. So, peace. Signing out. Much love. And share with others, please.